Loving Messi so much that you get angry at jokes about Messi is a huge psychological problem. Welcome to the Premier League, or welcome back.
Welcome. For some of you, it's welcome back real soon. And some of you haven't seen.
It's been a minute. You've been out for 10 years.
Yeah, I mean, I was actually thinking now, when was the last time I heard Hull City in the Premier League?
Yeah, like if you've only been watching football or Premier League for the past 5 or 6 years, you would have never heard of Hull City. And we are back with episode 2 of season 3. And Newcastle, they changed the manager and half the team. I don't know who's left, so we'll see what's going on with Newcastle.
But you know what's even more exciting? 3 brand new clubs.
We've got to get to know them a bit better. 3 promoted clubs. And FPL deadline is 2-ish weeks away, so
Just around the corner.
yeah, so let's get into it. So firstly, transfers. Our in-house expert here, Liam, will be taking us through some transfers. We've got some news from the Chelsea, the Liverpool, City,
I feel like
Tottenham, and then obviously United.
I feel like we have a lot coming, or a lot is happening in Chelsea at the moment. Not just I feel like Brazil. A lot that's happening. A lot of Yogi
A
goes.
lot happening in the Chelsea.
A lot of
I
Yogi
can't do that
goes.
accent.
But
Yeah.
Yogi goes coming in and Yogi also going.
Here we goes.
But for those of you who don't know, a long time ago, a guy by the name of Cucurella.
Cucurea, Trinca Estrella.
Cucucucurea, se come una paella. Cucucucurea, se bebe una estrella. Jala tiembla, que viene cucurea. Jala tiembla.
Did you see that he
Something.
actually had that head for his son, apparently?
So because he sounds autistic, so his son
Yeah.
can recognize him.
Nah, I'll give it
Respect.
respect.
And also,
And now he's going to go.
he's got braids.
Right now, yeah.
And also, he kept his promise. So there were 2 promises kept by the Spanish players. The Spanish players keep their promises. One was Cucurella, who said if they win the World Cup, he's going to get the coaches.
Dime quién fue ese loquito que te deja rota y el corazón en pedacitos por culpa de ese maldito.
Face tattoo.
Yeah.
And he did it. We'll show you guys the picture. And also Gavi, who wasn't there. Remember? Gavi said he's going to dye his hair
Is he
pink.
pink?
And he did it. So yeah, we'll insert pictures. So yeah, Gavi's hair actually looks cool. Yeah. Anyway, I just like Gavi.
Okay, we'll get to that part. Let's talk about some days and some dies. Okay, so Chelsea.
No way, we're not talking about days and dies. No.
The weather.
However, no.
So Chelsea got another signing. So speaking of Cucurella, it looks like this is one of the replacements. At the moment, I won't say they have a lot of rotation on in terms of the fullbacks, but not Pep Roulette, but Pep Chavaria. Around 18 million youngster coming from
Rayo Vallecano.
medical underway. And I was telling Aaron, off air that this kind of looks like Xabi Alonso's prime Bayer Leverkusen, the unstoppable. Could we call them the unstoppables?
Invincibles.
The invincibles.
Yeah.
They went that entire season unbeaten. They took they didn't take the Champions League. They did take
Europa.
They took Europa.
I think so.
So it was a great season, and it was just everything that fitted, intertwined. And I think that's the same approach is playing with this Chelsea team. Because look, Chelsea doesn't have bad players. I just don't think they have a good balance.
It's never been the problem. The quality of the individuals is never the problem. It's about putting it all together. It's the same problem Real Madrid have,
Yeah, that's why they're building a whole new team now.
Yeah, I'm not concerned about that.
But the difference is,
Special one.
yeah, my name is Jose Mourinho.
My name is Jose Mourinho.
Yep.
Okay.
Tell us about the next one.
Yeah, so I actually got a WhatsApp from my mother the other day.
Easy.
Yeah,
Your mother appears a lot in this podcast.
she does, eh? And she asked me, I think it was a voice up or something. She's like, who's this Barcola that everyone is going on about? So this Barcola that's everyone's going on about, this Bradley Barcola. Yeah, he is heading to Anfield, apparently, to Liverpool. He's part of a star front 3, star front 4 for the PSG. And obviously, the price tag starts at 100 million because obviously no one goes for less than 100 million these days.
I do think it's a bit inflated though. I'm not saying Bradley Barcola is not of decent quality. I think 100 mil is a bit steep though.
Listen, people are paying 117 for Morgan Rogers.
That's so fair.
Look, if you're going to pay 117 for Morgan Rogers, you must pay 120 for Gibbs White.
Oh, the number capital now.
Let's not go down the rabbit hole. Anyway, Liverpool raised their bid to 100 million for Barcola. Apparently, the Arsenal want him too. So, I mean, Salah left. Salah, shocker, is in Turkey.
Playing with Onana.
Wow, that should be fun. And I think Salah made some connections there when he went for his hair transplant.
I knew that.
So while he was there for his hair transplant, I think they spoke, some agency people spoke to him. Yeah, so we see, and obviously the thing is, if Barcola leaves PSG, who does PSG get? Or do they just play Douay?
No, they have enough rotation there. There's enough.
Yeah. Look, and then the other one is obviously the biggest news is the Ballon d'Or winner. Tough one, really. But
Oh, he's
Rodri,
must Spanish look. No?
Rodri,
Get away with
is,
anything.
Rodri is apparently on his way to Barcelona.
Not for 50 mil though.
He rejected Real Madrid, but then City rejected Barcelona's 45 million bid. We're a humble team, you know, so we're coming humble.
Is that what we're calling it?
The mother think that they're going to get 100 million for Rodri
Why? Because you don't have a ton of money.
because Rodri is
So you don't think he's worth 100 mil?
no,
So you think he's worth 45?
not that. Look, if money wasn't I'd say between 60 and 70 probably.
Okay, 80? Would you pay 80?
I don't think so. Listen, back in the day, you had to be Neymar to go for 100.
Or Paul Pogba?
Or Paul, or Usman,
Mm.
or Coutinho. But these days, yeah, inflation. It's time inflation. So, yeah, Rodri linked with Barcelona. I hope it actually happens. Imagine a midfield of, and I mean, you can rotate for days. You can have Frankie, my Frankie. Imagine a Frankie de Jong and a Rodri sitting in your midfield, and you just have your front four doing their thing. Or you mix it up with a Rodri and a Pedri, or you mix it up with Pedri and Gavi and Rodri, and then you put the Firminator in there as well, and don't forget about Danny Almost, like Champions League.
Stop saying Daniel Almost. People are going to think
La
that
Liga.
it's Daniel Almost.
Listen, in a Barcelona shirt is Danny Almost. For the Spain shirt is Danny Olmo.
Okay.
For men, is better than Olmo in a Barcelona shirt. That's a hill I'm willing to die on. Anyway, please continue. I'm off the point.
One point that hasn't been, that actually isn't here, you were on the topic of midfielders, right? And don't pay me to say this. It's actually going to add some more pressure to this team. The Arsenal, Bruno Guimaraes, taking away that. I think they just took the last of Newcastle's stock.
We'll get to Newcastle, but yeah, they
took the last good one over there. And if we want to talk about rotation in the midfield, we talk about quality rotation. Help me here. You now have Bruno, you have Declan Rice, you have Martin, you have Marino.
Didn't Zubi leave?
No,
Zubi is still there.
Zubi's still there.
Norgard left.
Norgard left. But the closest thing he came was touching the sideline.
Yeah, and then you have Miles,
Yeah.
left back that pushes into midfield as well.
Apparently, Miles Lewis-Skelly is linked to United. Not true that he is, but yeah, that's another option that comes into the midfield.
Yeah,
And
midfield is stacked.
quality.
That is the finishes.
The Arsenal,
Bukayo Saka.
there's not much more you can add. So your midfield, you can't add any more in there that's going to make it any better. So how do
Is
you...
Gabriel and Saliba still going to be those Owens?
That's the question.
Are they going to be able to keep that standard up?
Because you know how these long injuries, you come back and then it's not the same.
They're not the same. How's the North London derby going to be now? Because you're going to have Tonali with Spurs and you're going to have Guimaraes with the Arsenal. That midfield. Yeah, that's going to be an interesting battle.
So speaking about Spurs, I don't know if you want to touch on this one.
Yeah, so apparently, speaking of left backs, Jet Spence is also apparently leading to Anfield. So Christian Romero is going to go. It seems he's going to go where he belongs, which is where all the Scullies go.
All the
Atletico
Scullies.
Madrid. all the thugs, as we saw. So yeah, apparently he's heading there. So yeah, that's two defenders leaving. On other news, Mickey van der Vengeance, Mickey van der Ven.
Yeah, he signed another.
He renewed, unfortunately. I was hoping that he would be open to a move to Barcelona.
Barcelona.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, it's everyone's dream to play for Barcelona.
Yeah, and
Even Anthony Gordon can speak Spanish. Because he always dreamed of playing for players need to stop lying.
they
eh?
must stop
Players need to
lying.
stop lying.
oh,
It started with Trent come with that interview, fluent Spanish. I'm like, a scouts are speaking fluent Spanish.
nah.
Hy is amper sê Dua Lipa. Hy is Duolingo. Duolingo.
So
Yeah.
I think, look, I must give it to De Zerbi. There's something about either his presence or what he's achieved over the past couple of years that makes the players really want to go. Or people are saying, a lot of pundits are saying it's a typical Spurs thing, buying this 80% player, 8 out of 10 player for inflated prices. It's always been a Spurs thing.
Last week I said 7 out of 10 players.
Yeah, no, it's getting much better.
Oh, so they have 8 out of 10 players.
8 out of 10.
now.
So the big question is, think of new broom sweeps clean, no? And you're going to come in with this approach, but it's either going to work for you or you're going to be next.
Listen, 38 games is a long time.
It's a long time with all these signings. Oh, and maybe you must build chemistry, right?
And you need to figure out who is your starting lineup. And every team you face poses a different challenge. So what worked last week isn't going to work next weekend again, because now you're playing a team that plays on the counter. Last week you played a team that uses a low block. Yeah.
Do me a favor. If you are a Spurs supporter, or even if you're not a Spurs supporter, drop us a comment. Who do you think is the potential starting 11 based on what you know?
Yeah, what does Spurs starting 11 look like under RDZ? And for those of you who haven't yet, make sure you subscribe while you're at it. Give us a subscribe. We're starting this pre-season together. We're going to go into the season together. So make sure to hit that subscribe. So, like we mentioned earlier, Newcastle, new manager, mass exodus. There's more outs than ins at the Newcastle.
I'm not sure what happened here. Do you think that was just time?
Personal reflection and exhaustion.
So it was just time.
It was time, and then notably, Anthony Gordon leaves, Tonali leaves, Bruno Guimaraes leaves, key players for them, and now there's a new manager also.
But yeah, but look, like I was saying, if you think about it, it's not just now. It started last season already, you know, with key players leaving. Okay, but that was Isak and his behavior. But I mean, Newcastle were that exact same team got into the Champions League, right? And I think I still made a comment once, and I said, you know, after this feels like such a Leicester move, where you're having that.
They did quite well against Barcelona.
Yeah.
I think that's what Barcelona wanted Anthony Gordon.
Probably. So I think they did well under the circumstances, and let's be honest, I don't think Newcastle was going to get to number one.
I had very high hopes of them when they announced the Saudi deal. I thought Newcastle was going to be the next city. Yeah, I don't know. So they've got a new coach now, Matthijs Jasso, something. He's Bosnian, I think. Yeah, 4-year deal. He comes from Al Hilal. We won there. So manager new to the Prem. Key players left. Let's see.
It's a lot of falling around, a lot of figuring things out.
Yeah, and I mean Trippier's gone.
Yeah, then?
Trips is
Wolves.
gone, and your old favorite Matt Target.
Oh no!
Matt Target is also gone.
Isn't the Dubravka also gone?
Martin's gone. Yeah. So, I mean, they've spent 110 million on players, and yeah, the star names haven't been replaced. Who replaced Isak, really? Johan Visa.
Voltemade.
Nicholas Voltemade. I like that guy. I hope he finds his form.
Find his feet.
He finds his feet and finds his head. Yeah.
Yeah, I think Visa also, you don't,
Johan,
that team is, he shouldn't be there.
it's very odd, mixy-matchy type of. Yeah, let's see what happens to Newcastle. Maybe they can be the United and maybe get almost relegated.
Okay.
You guys did almost get
Yeah, okay, but why would you use the United? Why not use the Spurs?
Because you're not a Spurs fan. Okay, maybe Newcastle pull a Spurs and almost get relegated, and it goes down to the last 2 game weeks. Get better.
Better.
Wow. So,
Speaking about teams that are falling out and almost getting relegated.
and falling in.
Yeah, now we're talking about falling in, newly promoted. Let's talk about the 3 teams that made it through.
Welcome to the Premier League, or welcome back.
Welcome. For some of you, it's welcome back real soon. And some of you haven't been.
It's been a minute.
It's been a minute. The one team is Aaron's favorite. Well, there's a huge favorite that's a part of this team, Frank Lampard, and he's Coventry City.
AKA Fraud Lampard.
There we go. There it comes. Welcome. They had a great season in the championship. If I think I stand correct. No, I'm correct by saying they had a almost unbeaten run. They went all the way through. They didn't need to. They weren't part of the playoffs, right?
One thing.
They went all the way through. And look,
Okay.
on a random note, I think it was a bit disappointing that Wrexham didn't make it. But looking at the squad, I don't think they would have had the squad depth or the players to, I don't know, to survive in the Premier League. I don't think they would have been ready.
Yeah. Look, and on the bright side, on the one side, you have Fraud Lampard, who knows what not to do. He's a manager in the Premier League. So Coventry are back after 25 years away from the Premier League. And yeah, it's going to be a bit tough for them. First game is Arsenal. Second game, City. So that's going to be interesting. So players to look out for: Haji Wright, apparently the man that leads the line for them. And then we have Milan van Ewijk,
He's apparently someone who's going to get the minutes.
who's an attacking fullback. So yeah, something to look out for there.
Yeah.
The other one is Ipswich Town, okay, Ed Sheeran.
Yeah.
Ed Sheeran's
Nice.
one, yeah. Yeah, it's a bit of a yo-yo story for them. They were up and then down again, and now they're up again. Kieran McKenna, who is known from United fame, was there, relegated 24-25, and then championship runners up now. McKenna stepped away, so now they've got Gary O'Neill. Previously of Bournemouth and Wolves, get both of them up. Strasbourg, so also knows the Prem. Again, that jump between Premiership, Championship, and the Premier League, it's always going to be a challenge. Players to look out for there is Chuba Akpom.
And
I'm not familiar, I must say.
but some new arrivals like I'm not sure this is the same Emerson. No, it's not the same Emerson. But do you know Abdul Fatu?
I do not know Abdul.
Abdul Fatu, he played for Leicester. He was Leicester's right wing. Very fast.
Interesting.
So he has some Prem experience.
And I was also lying earlier when I said someone is Bosnian.
We're talking about the coach
For who?
for Newcastle.
Oh, I lied. He's not Bosnian. The coach for Hull City is Bosnian.
So yeah, so Hull City, if you don't know, do a bit of research. Hull City, it's been a while. So it's a bit of an underdog story or underdog manager story. How do you pronounce this dude's name? So
Sergei
he's a,
Chakarovic.
yeah, he's a Bosnian coach. He managed Croatia. He managed in Croatia, Slovenia, Bosnia, that entire
The whole East
the whole East Europe and Turkey. So he walked into Hull City a couple of months ago, not so long ago, and won promotion in his first season. So it's again one of those stories like the Wrexham, and continuously, did well from there.
He's been out for 10 years.
Yeah, I mean, I was actually thinking now, when was the last time I heard Hull City in the Premier League?
Yeah, like if you've only been watching football or Premier League for the past 5 or 6 years, you would have never heard of Hull City unless you're watching FA Cup.
So there's not a lot of key players in Hull City. I think I can't think of anyone on top of my head.
Ollie McBurney.
Ollie McBurney, yeah.
I don't know if he's still going to be there, but yeah, he sealed the win for them. The playoff final over Middlesbrough. Everyone thought Middlesbrough was going to make it.
Me too.
But Hull City got one over them. So, yeah, just something I didn't know, that these teams who get promoted, they get at least £170 million per club. for promotion over a 3-year period. So yeah, it's worth it. It's worth it. So yeah, looking forward. There's always a surprise package between the three teams. It's always disappointing when three teams go up and the same three
Yeah.
teams come down.
Yeah.
I trust and believe it won't be like that. I think at least one of those teams, and will probably be Ipswich, that will be able to give
Stay.
people a run for their money.
Because they've been here before. It's normally like that.
Yeah, I mean, this is the second visit in recent times. People will probably think that it will more likely be Coventry. But I think, I don't have high hopes for Hull City, but between Coventry and
You don't have high hopes for Coventry, or you don't have high hopes for Floyd Lampard?
by the end of the season, Floyd Lampard won't be their manager anymore. That's bold.
This sounds familiar.
Wow. Anyway, moving along, speaking of managers, all you fantasy managers out there,
We're waiting.
FPL,
We're waiting.
we are waiting for you to join our FPL league. The league has been created. We'll insert the code. Looking forward to you joining with us. Let's compete. Liam's very confident. Liam thinks he's going to win our mini league. We want you there to compete with Liam, to compete with me. So make sure
No, actually, he
to join our
thinks I'm
mini
gonna
league.
win. He thinks I'm gonna win.
I think
I think
I don't know if you're going to win. I think you're going to do better than me. That's what I see.
Look, I do agree with the one thing. I think this might be one of my best seasons. And if it is one of my best seasons, then I might beat you. I'm talking about if it's my best season. I think one of my best seasons, I came close to your second best that you did. That's a long time ago. But with enough focus, I think I can do well. I've been watching a lot of the drafts. So all I'm saying
People
is
are next level with
you
the drafts.
you better come prepared from game week 1. I'm not playing.
Now I'm worried.
I'm not playing. My team has been selected unless there are last minute transfers. I didn't.
Chapman's Rovers, are you hearing this?
Chapman's Rovers, I'm waiting for you. You must be lucky. You're so lucky that you won the World Cup
So
fantasy.
Chapman's Rovers won.
I
the
gave
World
it
Cup
to you
fantasy.
on a silver platter by mistake, and I'll never make that mistake again. So you better sleep with both eyes open.
Or not even one eye open.
Both eyes open, because if you miss that deadline, I'll be there.
Liam there to pounce. So we'll be giving shout outs to the top 3 highest score of the week, all of those type of things as we go through the season. So make sure you join. After you've joined there, make sure to subscribe as well and then stay up to date. We are back with the ATA. This is where we discuss your problems in your life as it relates to life and football. So also, if you have scenarios, if you have disagreements, if you have strong opinions, send them through to us. Let's debate.
We want to know.
Bring it into the circle. Let's debate. Let us know what you guys think. Drop it in the comments if you have similar scenarios.
And please, what do they call it? Use other names, placeholders.
Yeah, I don't have to use your real name.
Please, that's fine.
Yeah, we don't want to mention names and offend people. So, am I the AO for making fun of Messi in front of a die-hard Messi fan?
Woo!
I'll stop there and say, yes, you are. It's unacceptable. So just for context, Messi GOAT, Ronaldo GOAT. We'll leave it at that. I'm 17, male. I recently I moved schools and I've only kept contact with a few of my friends. Out of them, there is one that I have met from time to time as we all live in the same area and have hung out in friend groups and all. And honestly, I thought we were really close friends. As everyone is aware, the World Cup's going on right now and my friend is a die-hard Messi fan. And very recently, the Cape Verde versus Argentina match happened. During the match, I saw my friend obviously supporting Argentina through Instagram. And around the time I messaged him was when Cape Verde scored, made it 2-2 against Argentina. I messaged him saying, Messi's World Cup career is done. So that's rude. I still don't know if that was the issue, but he got a little offensive and started saying stuff like, your mom, and all the teenager jokes. I thought they were jokes and all at first because you always talk like that, and I thought we were close enough to make jokes like that. But the same day later, after I checked my phone, I found out that he blocked me. I thought that was maybe like a small joke that would last a day or two, but it went on even longer. And even when I texted him about going somewhere to hang out on a different account, You just left me on red and blue like Barca. And Mother Ayo was simply making fun of me in front of a friend, or is my friend overreacting?
I think he's overreacting. But it depends on your relationship, man. It depends on the relationship. I know I can go on with Adam about Messi all the time.
And I'm quite harsh on
And
him
yeah.
with Ronaldo.
And look, I always say it, and we'll have this debate, but I don't hate Messi. I was strong feelings after the World Cup, but I mean, let's not allow one event to change, you know. But yeah, anyway, we won't go into that. But
It's not Messi himself that was the problem then.
anyway, I saw something that Messi did, yeah, on the final game, in the final
What did he do?
at the end. Yeah,
What did he do?
you don't see that clip.
We walked away while people were fighting.
No. So what's his name fell over, got injured. Yeah? And when they were fighting, so Messi walked over. Yeah? And you already thought he's coming to sort this out. In the meantime, he's pointing to that brother that just fell now. The defender, I can't remember, it was Tagliafico.
I don't know.
But one of the defenders, that defender literally just fell over. Yeah? Like literally just fell over. Nobody touched him to get the distraction away from the yellow card, wasn't the red card. And I was like,
Now, what does that to do with Messi?
Messi knew what he was doing. He walked there, huh, to have the focus on that guy to say, look, check if he's okay. Just check if he's okay.
Yeah, he cares about his teammates.
And then the card never happened.
Yeah, because he was concerned
Yeah,
with the
man.
welfare of his teammates. Ronaldo would have been shouting at the player for not defending. Anyway,
Anyway, so yeah, back to I don't think it's honest. I think your friend is I don't think your friend is the problem.
to be fair, they're 17. They're
Yeah.
teenagers.
Well, he says I'm 17, so you don't know how old I
Yeah,
am.
but assume the friend is in the same range. So yeah, comment. Is he also 17 or is he like 6? That is a bit of
Not
a,
bad, so, yeah.
of a very childish reaction. Your friend is just being a crybaby. Big baby.
Big
Big
baby.
Ish. Yeah.
You just need to apologize and needs not to get so sensitive over a game on TV.
Wow, that's taking it a bit too far there. It's not just a game, but I agree. You mustn't get so sensitive. Yeah.
Disagree? What's that? Disagree.
Loving Messi so much that you get angry at jokes about Messi is a huge psychological problem. Wow. If he's that precious about a football star he has no personal connection to, he's not going to get far in life. Ridiculous. Oh, people are harsh.
Everyone is saying not an asshole.
If that kid can't handle a simple joke that wasn't even remotely offensive, you'll better off not being friends with him. Yeah, I think your friend's a bit emotional and he's probably going through all this fuck in his life. So wish him all the best, but yeah, you're not missing out anything.
Am I the asshole for persuading my wife to watch part of the World Cup final after she initially said no? But I tend to think about this before I read, but
Yeah, I'm also.
So my wife and I have been fighting over the World Cup, but it has become much bigger than sports. It's now about compromise, boundaries, and whether I listen to her. It started during a weekend getaway.
As again, those people.
yeah.
As again, those people with the relationship problems and then they want to blame football.
Oh, what is the deal?
You're gonna hear now. I can tell you what this is already.
He was supposed to do this or whatever, but then he was watching the game.
And it's a weekend away, and she made effort to plan the weekend away, and then he rather wanted to watch a game on TV, and she initially said she won't watch, and then she.
And then he said he was going to do this, and then he didn't. And anyway, so it started during a weekend away. Then it began near the end of the another one, Argentina versus Cape Verde match.
That game with a lot of problems, clearly.
We had been discussing it within the car, and several people at the restaurant were watching. I asked whether I could put the last few minutes on my phone in the background while we talked. You see, here's the idea. It's coming already, no? It's already starting. She said no, because there was outdated, and she wanted my full attention. I did not, I did not watch, but then it became a heated discussion. She said sports are meaningless and overcome commercialized. Well, to be fair, this World Cup, but anyway.
The World Cup was over commercialized, but I wouldn't say meaningless. And she's talking about sport in general. I find that disrespectful.
And that even asking showed I was prioritizing sports over and disrespecting a boundary. I argued that this was an exceptional once every 4-year moment, that the World Cup has real meaning to me, and that I want to experience it with her rather than watch alone, like she cares. At couples
What is it with these people in couples therapy? Other Canadian ladies who divorced their husband.
divorce her husband, ek sê, over football. Yeah, the
Check the previous episode, guys. There's a Canadian lady who divorced her husband because of the World Cup.
And she didn't say that am I the asshole. She just came to come tell us
She came to come broadcast the problems.
Yeah.
She can't even man telling people to single. Anyway.
Okay, let's do that again. At couples therapy afterwards, she said they had already been too much sports this year. I should about the couples therapy for that. There had been several major events I cared about, but she had barely participated in them, and I really asked her to. Aside from one sports-related trip we both enjoyed, most of it had not affected our schedule, so I felt kind of blindsided. After therapy, I became frustrated and provocatively asked her whether she wanted to attend the World Cup game. Bro, you're not getting the message.
Is that spirit?
Yeah. I admit I was not asking constructively. When I feel hurt or understand, I sometimes push the issue to make a point.
Clearly.
Yeah, clearly. I later asked more generally about visiting a fan zone she had previously seemed interested in. She reluctantly agreed, but we didn't end up going because of logistics and the weather. The weather at our next session, my bro, how many times did you talk about this?
And on it, couples therapy sessions, you guys go weekly, twice a week. What going?
Yeah. At our next session, she treated both questions as evidence that I was continuing to overwhelm her. I acknowledged that being proactive, was self-sabotaging, and that regardless of how much sports had objectively affected her, it felt like too much to her. That session ended calmly.
I'm happy for you.
Nice. The following week was peaceful and affectionate.
Oh,
There were no evening games.
that's why it was peaceful and affectionate.
And I occasionally shared funny or meaningful World Cup posts with her. She seemed receptive, and sorry, I'm missing that. And I thought tension was easing. No, brother. The night before, this sounds like a long story. The night before I had a minor medical procedure. She asked whether I was okay with hanging out and having dinner with a friend on Sunday.
So if she would ask whether I was okay with her hanging out and having dinner with a friend on Sunday.
Makes more sense. Yeah, so I said the next morning, I remembered the final was Sunday afternoon, and asked whether she could adjust the plan so we could watch a part of it together. I suggested she could do an activity before the game, join me for the later portion, and then go to dinner. She said we would discuss it later.
That's a no.
No, bro, you didn't position it later. I did not raise it again until Saturday evening. Most of Saturday had been normal. She ran errands while I did chores and cared for our dog during a storm. Our texts were playful and affectionate. I have no idea where this is going, eh?
This guy is weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you also have no idea where this is going. Is this going uphill or downhill or
When she got home, I asked again. She initially said she was definitely not interested. I went into convincing mode. What the heck is convincing mode? I said
it's a bad idea is what it is.
I said she only needed to sit with me for the latter part, perhaps an hour. How is that the latter part?
You can watch the build up and the opening ceremony. And remember there was like a half an hour halftime show. And,
Oh yeah, to be fair.
yeah.
So yeah, the latter part, perhaps an hour, could be on her laptop and do whatever. And could still have dinner with her friend. I told her I understand sports. Understand sports had felt like a lot and offered not to ask her to watch or attend another sporting event with me for the rest of the year. She reluctantly agreed. She also explained that she could no longer do her originally planned thing with her friend anyway, which made me think the adjustment was not very inconvenient and that she was making a genuine compromise rather than feeling forced. On Sunday, she came home after the second half had started. She showered and did a few things around the apartment, then sat with me during the extra time while working on her laptop. I was happy. I did not need her full attention. I just wanted to share the final moments of an event that means a lot to me. I feel this more about you, dude. Afterwards, she left for dinner, and I believed everything was fine. Karen, please take over. I can't anymore with those things.
At our next therapy session. I feel like we aren't licensed to deal with this guy. I feel like we need a psychology qualification. I have a book here that can maybe help this guy. At our next therapy session, she said I badgered her, and the woman is something else. She said I badgered her until she felt unable to refuse. She said she only agreed because she feared I would become upset or throw a tantrum if she said no. According to her, the fact that I tried to persuade her at all after she said that sports felt overwhelming proves that I do not listen to her, respect her agency, or care about her feelings. I was surprised and deeply hurt. I knew that I tried to persuade her, but I did not think I pressured her very hard, and the request seemed small. Spent part of the final beside me while free to do her own thing before continuing her plans. It required a little from her, but brought me immense happiness.
So he's about him.
To be completely truthful, there is history.
Good stuff.
I often go into persuasion mode when she resists something. I pushed her hard regarding school, career, preparation, and trips because I believed I was helping her even when she objected. So he's just used to getting his way. She must just do whatever he wants. I now understand that this made her feel managed and taught her that her first no might lead to more argument. That's the therapist told in that part. But I struggle with the conclusion that I do not care about her feelings. I regularly plan trips and meals around her preferences. Do you really though? And attend social events that are not my first choice because they matter to her. I see those choices as normal acts of love and compromise. She says the difference is that she allows me to refuse while I continue persuading her after she says no. I understand the distinction. Still, I do not believe every attempt to persuade a spouse is automatically coercive. Oh, you have a name for it. You even have a name. It's persuasive.
Yeah.
So this woman feels like she has no say. People sometimes willingly do things they would not choose because things matter to their partner. Reluctant agreement is not necessarily forced agreement. Fair enough.
Fair. But it's almost like, okay, now let's finish.
I'm not saying she owed me this favor. I'm asking where healthy compromise ends and pressure begins. Was I wrong to try and change her mind after initial no, given the earlier conflict in our history? Or is it reasonable to hope that the partner will occasionally make a small sacrifice to share something deeply meaningful? I think we're both tired.
Yeah, dude. So firstly, yes, you are the asshole.
Yeah, I agree.
I think it boils down to one thing for me is that I think you are extremely manipulative. I'll give you the persistence part there, like you really push, but you every time you position it in such a way that I don't know, man. I don't say it's sly, but you put it in such a way that she does feel guilty,
And he knows what he's doing.
and you know what you're doing, yeah.
He knows He doesn't take a no for no. He doesn't accept a no. And I mean, that isn't right. Yes, she must compromise now and then. If she knows something is important to you, do the same. But when it force it, and force it,
Don't force the horse.
yeah, it's too much. No means no. A reluctant agreement is not enthusiastic consent. You are making her be miserable. That's not what you should do to a partner. She clearly said that she's not interested in sports, so don't make her watch. Don't send her memes. Don't ask her to go to friend zone.
Yeah.
Don't go into persuasive mode. Hobbies don't always need to be a couple hobby.
So
If one person isn't into it, compromise is you do your hobby alone or with a friend. B, she accepts it's your hobby, and sometimes dates will be scheduled around it. I agree. Like, people think they must have, this is coming from a single guy, people think they must have everything in common. And like, if I had a girlfriend who's into hiking, I'm not so big into hiking. That doesn't mean that she's not going to convince me to go on every hike that she goes on. She's allowed to do and must do stuff alone or with her friends. I want to watch football or a documentary. She's not necessarily going to enjoy that. I don't expect you have your stuff, she has her stuff, and you have your stuff.
Now, do you expect your girlfriend, for example, to also be a podcaster?
And no, please not.
Exactly. We all have our own things. And
You're the first person to call me a podcaster. That's weird. Anyway.
or content creator. So yeah, yes, dude, you are the asshole. Just scroll up quickly. I saw something and I went through my paper. Still, yeah,
And that's coming.
you're the asshole and exhausting.
Yeah, look, I was that young and exhausting.
You're toxic.
Why don't you just leave her alone? You're toxic. If she isn't interested, she isn't. Yeah, you're immature. You're being a child in a grown man's body.
What I wanted to say was, I mean, like, how do you? He's really forcing it because it's not that she doesn't like football. She says she's not into sports. Like, sports is a so accept it, dude. Like, we can understand maybe compromise on another sport, but she doesn't like sports. So why are you trying to force this?
I think he must get friends. Maybe he doesn't have friends, right? Because he's like that, he doesn't have friends. Like your spouse, your partner can't be everything. They can't be your only friend and your partner and your this and your that. I'm tired. Dude, just go to therapy and find friends, please.
But stop going to therapy for this now, so Nora.
Yeah, you go alone. You want to do that alone? So go to your own therapist alone. Separate. Go.
But what's this one? Sorry, before you the asshole. My husband loves horror movies. I don't like them. He asks if I want to watch it. I say no. And we're done. Your wife doesn't care for sports. And you pester her to watch it with you. Exactly what I was saying.
Yeah, like, and I'm sure she's always been this way, like since you were dating and stuff. So don't try to change her now.
Please don't.
This has been the other half. We will catch you next week with more football, more relationship drama. 1 week closer to fantasy.
Oh, 1 week away. The countdown begins.
And we'll have some more transfer updates for you. I think it will heat up. Hopefully next week when I'm sitting here, I can tell you Rodri is a Barcelona player.
But nobody cares about La Liga. We're talking about the Premier League.
Oh, Rodri is currently a Premier League player.
Yeah, but he won't be if he goes. We won't talk about it.
Anyway, thank you, Liam. It's been good.
Question, is your name still going to be Pep Roulette?
No.
Interesting, eh?
We'll keep it for next.
Yeah.
So for years, my FPL name was Pep Roulette. And I had to choose a new name now. I must admit my name's very template. It's not original at all. But it does include one of my favorite players. So yeah, it's nothing special. It's one of the standard funny names. So
Okay.
yeah, we shall reveal all next week.
On the other.
Subscribe. See you next week.